everybody. I just wanted to jump on here really quick and kind of just do a little bit of a tutorial, like a minute or two, about how to style a shelf. Styling shelves are probably one of my very favorite things that I get to do in a home, just because I get to bring in personality and character and a lot of dimension and layer either patterns or textures on a bookshelf. Okay, so your 5 steps, what to do when doing your shelf is, number 1, you gather everything that you want to put on that shelf and put it in one spot. It's going to seem like you have too much. That's all right. I always do that when I'm coming to a client's home. We bring in a ton of things, and it's simply that it's just easier to see it all laid out, and then that way you can kind of pick and choose what you want to put on the shelf. So keep everything all in one spot and kind of decide from there. 2, I like to place my large items first as my anchor pieces. So for instance, with this shelf, I went ahead and I put my white vase first, I put my large clock first, and then I have a candlestick down there. Those are my anchor pieces that I kind of said, okay, so this is what I'm going to build around on each shelf. 3, next you bring in like any art that you have, any of your frames. This is where your personality comes in. I tell everybody this is your bookshelf, so it should be your personality. So for instance, I have my frame of one of my daughters, her senior year. I have another daughter in a frame, her cheer, actually 2 of my daughters in cheer. And then I used a book and I stood it up as kind of an art piece. But I also use books in every bookshelf that I do, because I use the books, whether or not they have like really pretty spines. If they do, then I kind of move them outwards. If they're not that pretty, I bring it, kind of flip them around so you just see like the white papers, but I use them for stacking things. So I usually use 2 or 3, and that gives me some height difference, which always creates interest. Okay, number 4, groupings. This is a question I'm asked constantly. You always, with art, want to group things in 2s or 3s. It just creates interest. If you have just one thing, it's kind of boring. If you have too many things, it's cluttered. So for instance, I have my clock and a museum stand up here, and they are, you can't really see from here, they have a little bit of a height difference. So I did 2 things here. We have groupings. I use my books to stagger up, to stack up my candle. I have the art, and I have just a piece of decor. And then I kind of carried that, through each shelf. So, which was kind of cool. Make sure that your groupings are always different. So for instance, if I were to have like a black, a piece of black decor and black here, I kind of shake it up, and I take the black and I skip one of the shelves, or I move it over. You'll see like there's white, and then there's black, and there's white down there, and I'm kind of going like a serpentine. So white, then white, there's cream, then there's white down there, and that is kind of what I do for that part. Make sure that you do not get afraid of mixing things up. If you put everything on the shelf and you're like, yeah, I don't like something about it, don't be afraid. It's your shelf. You get to do whatever you want. So you just kind of shift it around till it looks exactly the way that you want it. And the last tip that I always incorporate is greenery. Green's my favorite color anyways, but with green, you get to incorporate life and kind of brings everything together. It brings some texture. So I always bring succulents or greenery, and then also wood. So that gives another dimension of texture. So there's always some wood that I bring into. It's just a natural element, and it kind of brings the whole shelf together. So have fun with this. Don't overthink it. I think people overthink it too many times, and it's your shelf. It's supposed to be something that belongs to you and pretty much tells the story of your family. That's why I think bookshelves are necessary in every home. And that's it, guys. If you have any questions, always email me at amy@amyedesign.com, or you can always go to my website at amyelizabethdesign.net, and I'll see you there. Thanks, guys.